Welcome to Kandy's Car Corner. I'm Kandy Mitten. In this episode, we're going to check out Moncton's radical SpeedSport East Car Show. This is an annual event that draws in vehicles from all around the Maritimes and even further. First up, let's check out everyone's favorite German import.
So this is a 1200cc motor, 1.2 liter, if you're not too familiar with what the cc's are. It's a flat four, very similar to what's in a kind of a modern Subaru, same kind of style. It's carbureted. It's got a generator instead of an alternator, like I said, because it's a 6-volt system, but pretty simple engine, easy to fix, easy to repair, air-cooled.
Tell us about this car.
It's my 1961 Volkswagen Beetle, all original interior, painted once on the outside, original engine, 6-volt electrical system, which is kind of outdated, but keeps it classic, keeps it clean and simple. So.
Now, obviously, you weren't around in 1961. What attracts you to this style car?
I had some family and friends that have had them in the past, and when I was younger, exposed to it a lot, and that kind of brought me into that world, and I've always wanted one ever since then.
Now, you mentioned that it's all original. Why do that this day and age when you could have changed it up custom?
It's hard to find a car like this clean, so to preserve it a little bit, keep it all original. It's hard to modify something that you know you're not really going to ever find again. If it was a lot rougher, maybe I'd consider doing something to it, but where it's so clean, I'd like to keep it that way.
Where did you find this car?
I actually found this down past Parsbro, Nova Scotia. Somebody had it sitting on their lawn for years, and I went down, started it up, made an offer, and drove it home. Actually, I didn't drive it home, I trailered it home. It wouldn't drive that far.
What kind of a life has it had? Do you know the history, owners, what type of kilometrage?
It has 99,000 original miles, which is kind of rare. I don't really know who owned it before him. I guess there was 2 or 3 owners before him, but it's been preserved pretty well and it's in pretty good shape. So here you've got a 4-speed manual transmission, and that's pretty basic for the inside. You've got a radio, you've got lights, and you've got wipers, and that's pretty much it. Very simple interior.
For people that aren't familiar with these cars, give us some of the novelties that you might find in it.
Novelties, the engine is in the back, that's one thing. The trunk is in the front. It doesn't actually have a fuel gauge, and if you got to put gas in it, you've got to pop the hood and turn the cap that way.
Any wiper, Dad?
Now, you are a bit of a car collector, I understand.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of your other cars.
I've got a 2012 Subaru Impreza WRX as well. It's also in the show. And I've got a Volkswagen Golf as well that I drive every day.
So now the Subaru and this car, what do you use them for?
The Subaru I used to drive every day, but it became more of a project, and this is definitely more of a show car. It's not something I drive every day, but it's cool to have.
How long have you had this?
I've had it about 9 months now.
So it's fairly fresh?
Fairly fresh to me, so hopefully I'll have it for a while. But
what do you plan on doing with this car?
At first I had a lot of plans, things, I'm going to change this, change that, and after kind of looking at it, I don't really think I want to do much to it for a while. Maybe some new tires and some new brakes, but other than that, keep it pretty original.
Is it hard to get components for this car?
It's actually quite easy. A lot of the websites online carry pretty much everything you need. Nothing local, but if you can wait for it, you can find pretty much anything you need. You got to hold on to it while you got it. Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
Now, we've noticed that there's a different plate on the front. Tell us the history about that.
So the plate that's on the car is actually a German license plate from Germany. It was used on, I'm not really sure what kind of car. I was lucky enough to get it. One of my friends had brought it back with him from a trip, and I bought it off him and thought it would be a cool piece for the car.
Tell us what a Bandolero is and where that might race.
They race at Scotia Speed World in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Petty International Raceway in New Brunswick.
Now, how old are you and how old is everybody that races in your class?
Well, I'm 10, and mostly everybody's like 15, 14, like around like 8, and all different ages.
What's the youngest age to race in one of these cars?
8.
So you're right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Did you win that at one of these events, and if so, what was it?
Yeah, this is my points trophy from last year. I got it from winning all my other trophies too.
Now, what kind of horsepower or what kind of engine does your Bandolero have?
They have 570cc Briggs & Stratton.
Does that go fast?
Yeah. In New Brunswick, we can reach up to 85 miles per hour, and down in Halifax, Nova Scotia, we can reach up to 65 miles per hour.
Why did you want to get into racing?
My brother started it, and it's fun. It's fun to do. So, yeah, I don't know. I just like racing.
Now, how many people participate in one of these races? How much competition do you have?
There's down in Halifax, Nova Scotia. There's probably about 25 cars.
This is the funkiest vehicle and trailer I've seen. Tell me what this is.
Well, this is a 1967 Ford Econoline van. I purchased it in '77, and it's been my pride and joy ever since, every day. And this is a 1961 Ford Econoline pickup, and I carry a 1963 Ariba Puck from Germany. And this is my party place.
Now, this can't be the way the interior came when it was new. Tell me about the inspirations for the chrome and the stainless and the lights.
Well, I am a sheet metal worker. My dad gave me a title. He said, "What are you going to call it?" And I said, "I don't know." He said, "Why don't you call it Tinker?" And I said, "Tinker? What the heck is a tinker?" "It's a tinsmith." That gave me the inspiration to use metal.
Now, when you say that it's, made from a tinsmith and it's called Tinker, I see a lot of detail work in this metal. How do you even create that?
Well, every line that you see, every bend that you see, there's a line on the back. And I put it in the brake and I kinked it every way and distorted it, but I had to roll it back out flat and a little bit of preparation before you get it to put on the door. But it's better than being plain. Yeah, this is my best one I've ever won.
From USA.
Down in the big city of down in Greenwich, New York State, Upper New York. This was the best interior. There was about 250 vanners that they judged. And I was quite impressed when they called my name telling me I had won it. This is probably my best one. I've cherries a lot of them, but this is tops.
Now, tell me a little bit about the actual mechanics of this.
Well, it's got a 302 in it. Usually they're around a 240. That's the biggest motor they had. But I bought it, it had a 302 in it. So I took it out and had it rebuilt and made sure it'd be good for the long haul. So I put it back in and it's still what I have today.
Now, I even noticed that there's accommodations in here. Do you use this for traveling?
Oh yes, I've gone down to Lake Placid at a Van Inn down there, Van Nationals. I was very fortunate. I came first with the best interior. I was very humble in receiving that award.
Now, I've noticed you have a lot of lights in here. Is that a personal thing? What does that bring to the vehicle?
I was always fascinated by lights when I was a kid. And as far as I'm concerned, the age is only a number. I'm still a kid. I enjoy the lights.
Tell me about any other special items in this van or the trailer that you would like us to know about.
Well, this here is kind of unique. It's made so that you could put clothes in if you wanted to, but it's actually a fridge. It has 3/4 inch styrofoam all the way around inside. I could put a platform in there and beer could still be hidden. That's probably my secret. This little brass trinket was one of the things I made, and I think it might be my resting place someday.
Now, Bruce, we've all heard the old expression, if this van's a rockin', don't bother knocking. Is that the case here?
Yeah, but I've kind of outgrew the bed here. I have to go to my little trailer now. It's all good.
Now, Shane, I was walking through the show, I looked at this car, and there are lemons on the dash. There has got to be a story. Fill me in.
So this car here is kind of known in the Subaru community as the Lemon. The motor has probably been out of it more than it's been in. When it works good, but it has a tendency to break itself quite often. It's actually broken right now, but we brought it anyways.
Now, when you say this car, are you referring to everybody that owns this model or this particular car?
This particular car. I don't know, it's cursed or something like that, but it just doesn't like to stay together. I don't know.
Now, what do you use this car for? I'm guessing by the looks of all the gold under the hood, you don't use this to go to work in.
No, this is one of our drag cars. It's highly modified, but all these other ones seem to stay together. This one just doesn't like to. That's why we call it the lemon.
What modifications did you make to make it highly modified?
It has a full sleeve bottom end, forged internals, fully built heads. It has a 68 mil turbocharger and 1500cc injectors. So that's about a 600 or 700 horsepower car. When you start getting up into those horsepower, you can kind of expect failures.
What is the actual year, make, and model of that particular car?
That is a 2007 Subaru STi.
Now, is this car streetable or is it only good for special events?
No, it is streetable.
Why Subarus? I mean, there's all types of vehicles out there. What drew you to the Subaru brand?
They're a neat engine design. They're a flat motor, so they're horizontally opposed and turbocharged and all-wheel drive. So it's just a weird combination of engine and drivetrain. So they're just neat, and they're pretty fast.
For all the people out there that aren't car nuts and know every term, I seen the lemons under there, but I also noticed a lot of gold under the hood. Tell everybody what that gold actually is.
The gold is actually, it's a heat wrap, so it dissipates the heat off of the charge piping. So I think it's something, it's like similar to the stuff they use on like the space shuttles and stuff like that, but it's a lot nicer looking than the just generic heat wrap that you can buy.
Now, are there any really unique features on any of these cars that we would not be apt to see even on another import around here?
I'd say probably the one on the end. It has a turbocharger off of a dump truck on it, basically.
Why?
To go fast.
I see a very unique vehicle here behind us. Luke, tell us what type of vehicle this is.
It's a 1997 Nissan 240SX.
Now, this is obviously not a Nissan that someone just drove off the lot. Tell us about some of the upgrades that's been done to this vehicle.
Well, it's pretty much been touched all around now. There's not much left that is original. But basically, as you can see, like the whole front end is detachable. It's got an upgraded engine, suspension's all performance-based and such.
Now, what do you actually use this vehicle for?
Mainly it's for drifting, so it's basically when you're taking a corner and the rear end of the vehicle is actually going faster than the front. So you're basically keeping a balance point of traction and no traction. And that's mostly in parking lots and some courses around like Quebec and Ontario are very popular.
Is this dangerous at all?
Yeah, any kind of road race is dangerous, so you do want to like follow like certain things. A lot of tracks and events will have like a certain guideline that they want you to follow. They'll also do a vehicle inspection, make sure it is safe to drive. Also like the fire hazards, and then like also obviously crashing and whatnot. There, you want to have the proper gear, proper like ambulances and stuff on site at like the events and whatnot there. So you want to be careful there because it is dangerous at sometimes. But it's very fun and stuff, so like you just try to do it the right way. And I mean, I got like a fire extinguisher in my car, and like a lot of the time like you'll be wearing like a full outfit, you know what I mean, like shoes, fireproof stuff and whatnot, a helmet and all that kind of stuff. So
now, is there any place that you can participate in drifting around here in Atlantic Canada?
There's a few tracks, mostly oval tracks right now. We are trying to get something going on more because it is getting more and more popular as the years go by. So hopefully here in the next few years we can get something a little more legitimate and maybe get some bigger brand names and stuff to come and sponsor for us.
Now, how difficult is it to actually control the vehicle as a driver? What's required on your behalf?
It's a lot of concentration, a lot of practice, and definitely a lot of work on it because it's very, very hard on the vehicle. So I've had this car now for basically 6 years. It's been an ongoing project since, with practice as much as I can.
As we return to Kandy's Car Corner, we're going to meet an antique car rebuilder who takes special care with the vehicles that he works on. Wayne, tell us about this truck.
Well, it's a 1955 first edition. Total rebuild, frame off, everything is new. We've done a little bit of modification to the hood. As you can see in the The hood is usually a two-piece, and we welded it all together and made one piece to make it look a little nicer, right? I got a full heights front end underneath it, so it's a Mustang 2 style. Triangulated rear in the rear of the truck with coil-over shocks, and we boxed in all the frame, which makes it really nice, you know. So a really good, really nice driver. This is what it looked like originally.
Now tell us about the interior.
The interior, the seats are out of a newer Chevy, and then the back headrest area was all cut down and remade. There was a gentleman in Halifax area did all the upholstery for it. Like the gas tank was taken out of the back and put in underneath the box of the truck, and I got a little gas cap in one of the fenders that it's very, very subtle. You can hardly see it, but other than that, pretty much the body is stock looking.
And what about power plant?
It has a crate 350 and an automatic turbo 350 tranny.
What kind of comments are you getting from the public as they're looking at this truck, or what questions are they asking?
The biggest question, I think, would be the paint. Yeah, everybody keeps asking, what color is that? Where did you get it? You know. Other than that, I'm getting a lot of compliments, like beautiful truck. You know, I mean, but it's a nice truck.
How much time, like is it years, months, days, would it take to take a 55 truck and turn it into something that looks like this?
If we were working on it full time, I'd say you could probably do it in about a year and a half.
Was this a special project for you?
Yes, in a certain sense, because we drove the original truck in the garage, and it was still like completely 100% original. And so we stripped it and then started over. So yeah, they're all special. Every time I do a full custom job, it's always a piece of me that goes into it. It pulls at your heartstrings, really.
What makes you want to come out and do this judging?
It's just a passion I have. Been a car guy. Actually started working in the body shop when I was 11 years old. So I've been a car guy for a long, long time.
So tell me, here at Radical SpeedSport East, you've been starting to look around and check out some of the cars. What do you think of this year's turnout?
Oh, I think they got great quality here this year. Got some fantastic paints, really in a very good variety.
Engines, transmissions, how does that apply to being judged? Because obviously these vehicles aren't being driven right now.
Yeah, first we look for cleanliness, you know, and then we look at degree of difficulty, what has been accomplished. When we judge the engine, it includes the engine compartment too. So it includes the firewall, inner fender panels, what you can see of the front suspension. Anything you can see under the hood counts as the engine.
So Ernie, I seen you checking out this car. Tell me, what's your thoughts on it?
It's amazing craftsmanship. It's not something that would be my taste as a rule, but you've got to appreciate the amount of work and time that's gone into that and the labor of love that must be involved with this.
What grabbed your eye first when you saw it?
Actually, the paint, and then the TV in the back. I said, really, a TV in the back.
Now, do you get to a lot of car shows, and if so, how do you think that Radical SpeedSport East compares?
Pretty good. There's a lot of variety for people to see. If you want motorbikes, race cars, there's everything here to see, right? A lot of people here, and I think they do a great job at the car show myself.
There are over 20 by 20 displays with cars that are just, you know, jewels. I'm as amazed as some of the guests that we have on the cars that are here. So the guys are just surpassing each other year by year, year in and year out.
Give us an idea of what we can expect for 2019. Tease us.
Well, here's a tease, and it's pretty simple. It's a special year. It's the 45th, and we're working on something that is pretty cool.
As we return to this episode of Kandy's Car Corner, we're going to meet some car collectors young and old, and one special gentleman who relishes his green Camaro.
Well, I've been with Santis for about 4.5, 5 years now. What it is basically a really good group of friends. We like to hang out, just enjoy to have the same passion as everybody else. Well, my car here is a 2001 Volkswagen GTI. I've had it for about 6 years now. It's not, I bought it bone stock. It was actually originally black. I repainted about 4 years ago, changed every little bits of it. I changed the interior, the bumpers, the wheels. It's on actually a set of OEM Porsche wheels. It's actually a Cadillac ATS color, dark red. I couldn't honestly see myself having any other car.
Tell me the story behind this car.
That's a 1963 Ford Fairlane Sports Coupe, and I was looking for one because our family car in the late 60s was a 63 Fairlane. The car has 41,000 miles on it. I couldn't have asked for a better, more unique car, and I'm a member of the Ford Club here in Moncton, and yeah, I guess I'm an old Ford guy.
So what makes this 63 coupe special?
In early 60s, Ford introduced what was called the Challenger engine. It's a small V8, and eventually became what's known as the 302 or the 5-liter. Very popular engines, probably the most popular Ford engines ever made. In this car, a 63 Fairlane Sports Coupe has the same roof line, bucket seats, console inside, and also the hood. Very similar. It's a takeaway from the Thunderbirds of that year. I believe that they had such good results with these small, sporty Fords that sort of inspired the Mustang.
Now, Todd, I was walking through the show, and the first thing that jumped out at me was the pretty car, but the word relish. Tell me how this car got that name, and tell us about the car.
The relish name, I have another car I finished a few years ago, a Resto Mod 64 Corvette, and it's red, and I was going to call that one Ketchup, and then I finished this one in green, and so now I have Ketchup and relish.
Does that mean you got to get a yellow car now?
Yeah, I have another C10 Chev truck, but it's also green. I might have to paint it yellow.
So tell us your make, model, all the details about this beautiful Camaro.
It's a 73 Camaro RS. I bought it as a stock 73 from the States. Brought it up here in 2015, I believe it was. And with the intention of doing this to it, resto-modding it, and when I finally got around to it, we sandblasted it in Bathurst and realized we were dealing with a pretty ripe car. We had a lot of metal issues. So at that point, we just kept going forward, and we replaced almost every panel on this car. I tried to keep the general feel of the car looking like a 73. Any car that I do, that's what I have in mind, and I just like to drop them bigger wheels, keep the interior pretty much stock. But when you get in and drive it, it feels like you're driving a new car.
Now we know it's green, but what is that color? Is that an original color or is that a special color?
No, that's an original color from 1973. It's called citrus green. The tint might be a little bit different than what it would have been in 73, but that's basically the GM color. That's why it looks like relish.
Now they've been making Camaros for a lot of years. Why a 73?
My favorite generation of Camaros is the second generation. I've always liked them. When I was little, I liked the first generation, but these weren't really that old back then. So just looking back at all the Camaros, this is my favorite body style. It just reminds me of the stock car era when I was a kid, and it's just a neat shape. I like it a lot.
We always wanted to come down and see what cars are at the Coliseum every year. Every time we come here, there's always something new that we always like to see. There's always beautiful cars that come from all over, so we always like to come to see what's going on.